How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis.
Welcome to Politics and Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And good morning to the entire world receiving the signals, our signals via the magic of El Internet, created by whom? Created by we the people. Created by we the people. Again, it's all about we the people. Now controlled by the billionaires. Folks, we have got to take our country back. Folks, we will take our country back. But without further ado, let's throw it to El Studio, where we have El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jack Van Bibbo.
Well, good morning, Egberto. Here it is, Thursday morning at the radio and Neil Aquino Day. I did want to say that. Good morning, Neil. Hope you're doing okay.
Good morning.
Let's see. What do we have today? Oh, the Epstein files. Yes, here they are. You know, you wonder about this, and I think I expressed this a few days ago. I said, with all the egregious things that Trump has done so far in the campaign, getting elected, all these stupid dictatorship, these executive orders and blah, 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 you would think that would be what takes him down. But the Epstein files, it's kind of a gnat, not that big of a deal because it happened a while back. However, if it takes him out, hey, I'll let him choke on a gnat. That's just fine. And then we have Vance. Vance is probably a little better choice since we're going to be stuck with him anyway. He's probably not as destructive. He doesn't have the MAGA base in his pocket, so he won't be as effective as far as creating terror goes. And he's young enough to learn, oh, this is not the way you do things. So maybe there's a ray of hope there. And that's all I got.
Let me just say, remember, he's Peter Thiel's guy, though, the guy who runs PayPal. And guess what Peter Thiel says? I don't think democracy is too much of a good thing. So we'll see what happens. But Jack Van Bever told me that he has some interesting things to talk about.
He does. It's right here in his paper. He's getting ready to read it. So without further ado, here is Jack Van Bever. And
I'm good. All right. All right. Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
All right. Supreme Court has Trump's 16th win in a row. Man, that Supreme Court sure is corrupt.
Rubber stamp.
South Park takes aim at Trump in 27th season. That's the one I really like. Columbia paid $200 million to Trump. Man, Trump's birthright citizen order is unconstitutional. There's the Trump headlines for today.
What about this Columbia paying him $200 million? What's that all about? Didn't they capitulate and go, oh, Mr. Trump, you're so great. We should have statues of you all over our campus. So what happened? Why did they have to pay him?
I'm looking that up right now because Jack came up with a headline that just about stumped me. I'm like, Columbia? Where did Columbia get $200 million from?
First paragraph of the New York Times story, Columbia will pay a $200 million fine to settle allegations that it did not, I'm reading the story, that it failed to do enough to stop harassment of Jewish students, part of a sweeping deal. From what I read yesterday.
Oh, Columbia University. Okay, I was thinking the country.
Oh, were you thinking it was, okay.
Yeah.
They were holding up all their research money, so I guess paying the $200 million extortion was the easier pick.
Yeah, that is, oh my God, that is like, CVS paying $16 million to get Paramount. Right. And another piece of the extortion from CVS now is that they are cutting their DEI programs and they're making sure. I mean, it is amazing, right? What what
Hmm.
Trump is. I sat down and wondered, what is this DEI thing that Trump? Why are they obsessed with this DEI thing? Wow. Anyway, Jack, anything else you got to tell me, my dear brother, or Howard?
No. Y'all go ahead.
Oh, wait. Uh, Jack told me that it's Amelia Earhart's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Amelia Earhart. They
I
thought
cut
they
him.
found. Go, go
I
ahead.
cut him off. But let's get him back on here.
Yeah. I'm gonna play a song by Joni Mitchell after the show is over about Amelia.
Okay. Well, it's the several times they think they found that plane, but nobody ever went to excavate it. I think they saw some satellite pictures where they thought the plane was, etc., all that good stuff. Anyway, today's Thursday, which means it is Aquino Day. And Aquino, and first of all, welcome, Aquino. How you doing this morning, my brother?
I'm doing okay. I'm thinking they once found Amelia Earhart. I'm Googling Gilligan's Island, Amelia Earhart, because I thought she once showed up on the island with
Wait, on Gilligan's
Professor.
Island?
Yeah. I think she once showed up on Gilligan's Island. There's a Star Trek Discovery episode where they found out that she actually had gone to another planet.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's a lot of no. I guess there was okay. I swear there'd been anyway.
But you
And
know what?
Amelia Earhart would
When you think about Amelia
28 today.
Earhart disappearing, right? How old would she be?
She'd be 100. She lived 1897 and disappeared in 1937.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that long ago. I mean, I knew it was long ago, but
First
wow.
female pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean.
When you think about that, it is amazing that you make it. I mean, that's just vast. Anyhow, Neil, before the first of all, folks, for those of you who don't know, Neil is the founder of the Houston Democracy Project at HoustonDemocracyProject.com. HoustonDemocracyProject.com. He's one of our hey, I don't think you'd like to use the word activists. So I want to say organizers. One of our organizers
Sure.
around Houston and beyond. Every tell them every Thursday you have this great corn-in thing.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, yeah.
I have a blog, Houston Democracy Project blog, HoustonDemocracyProject.com, and I write most days. And I wrote this past. This is a quick story. I wrote this past Tuesday. We have I'm part of a protest at Senator Cornyn's office, 5300 Memorial Drive, 11:30 to 1 every Tuesday. We've been out for 8.5 years, every Tuesday, except for 3 weeks for Hurricane Harvey. And we had a man living in a nearby, he thought we were too loud, living in a nearby apartment, who yelled from his balcony, "I'll shoot you a-holes." He didn't say that, but that's a simplification, shortening of what he said. And
That's last week, right?
this 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay.
And he was very agitated. He had come out on his balcony and yelled at us to shut up a number of times, which happens. But I just wanted to highlight it briefly because we're watched by some police officers who are fine. They're not there to bother us, and although they would bother us if the opportunity arose. And we got them to help us. The officer was very helpful. 2 officers. They went up and talked to him. He denied saying it. He said that he had said, "Shut up, please." "Shut up, please." That's what he said. He said. And they talked to him. It's a little bit interesting because the officer told me that she called the district attorney's office to see if they wanted to press charges. It was kind of a one person said against another person said kind of case. So that didn't happen. But I want to point out 2 things. If you attend a protest, stick up for yourself. Stick up for yourself. Don't be cowed out by these folks. And I also make the point that we're fighting all the time. People ask, is protest safe? And my answer is, it's as safe as it's going to be against a white supremacist authoritarian foe. That's how safe it is. And I think it's important that we grasp what we're facing. And I made sure everyone in the group knew that we had, had that. Nobody left. Nobody left our corner. And that's really the story. But it's important that we be seen, we show up, we not be cowed. I appreciated that no one left, although I wouldn't have thought less of anyone who did. And we need to stick up for it. And you need to demand police protect you. I understand there's a lot of racial and this is a predominantly, though not exclusively at all, white group of folks, older. Though that doesn't mean when it all hits the fan, they suspend habeas corpus, that HPD or that a police force won't be on everybody, because they will. So that's that story.
Well, let me just say this, because you mentioned about protest danger, etc. Let me tell you that the opposition, the people who are trying to get a dictatorship, the people who are doing all these things, they're paper tigers. It doesn't take a protest to get a crazy right winger to do something. If you doubt it, remember what just recently happened in LA with this guy just running over people with his car, etc. Those are incidents that you don't have control over. But let me tell you, for all the protesters out there, most of these people are cowards, paper tigers, and they get their macho out of threatening you, and they get their resolve when their threats cause you to change your actions. They are terrorists. Now, here's the thing. The biggest fear of a terrorist is you standing up to them. So we tell people to protect themselves at protests, do not stop protesting ever. Because if you think they're going to get you at a protest, that's not where they're going to get you, baby. They're going to get you in many other places. Protest is essential when folks, especially in these times. And Neil, for all that you and your group do, thanks, because again, we must do that. The biggest fear that got into them was the King's March. Nobody expected that we would have hit the 3% of the voting population, and that's when change starts to occur. Neil, earlier we were talking about something that I am not gonna on my programs. I'm not gonna do a lot of talking on, except when I use it as a segue to something else. But we were talking about Epstein, and you made a few comments about it. Do you want to do that before we get started?
We were talking about Epstein, and I'll tell you, at our Cornyn protest this past Tuesday, and our reactions are positive. Every single week we've been out, the reactions 10 to 1 are positive, without exception, actually. But boy, some of the Trump folks were mad. We were just talking a little bit about where this leads. I actually think part of this is to get Trump out in Vance. I'm a little less hopeful about Vance than was expressed earlier. I think his allegiance with Peter Thiel and some of his statements for the neo-Nazi parties in Germany should be taken at face value. And it's good that we're addressing Epstein here, because it's the topic of the day. It's everywhere. And we're going to end up either with Trump gone, or we're going to end up. I believe they're considering arresting Obama. I don't expect it today, but we saw the reports yesterday that Trump is on those files, mentioned in those files, and they will do whatever they need to do. Trump will to not have it get him.
You know, it's amazing that you actually said you believe the you believe the Epstein. You said something there, but about a move to get rid of Trump. On July 17th, I wrote an article titled, "Is the Epstein story a distraction from the real issue and the oligarchy's move to end Trump?" The oligarchy's
Yeah,
move
yeah,
to end Trump. And one of the reasons, like I said, I am not, for all of those who are, covering, there are enough people covering the Epstein story. The one thing I want
right.
to keep people's mindset on, again, is a big bad bill and the
Yeah,
rescission bills are law. They're both laws now. And the reason why is our brothers and sisters in the rural areas, the palacias, the ghettos, the barrios, while we have the what I call the privilege to think about Epstein, etc., a lot of these people are still wondering, where do I get my kid that milk that I need for today? Where do I
right.
get that food that I need for today? And I don't want those folks to be forgotten, as every single station is talking about Epstein
Right.
day in, day out. That baby needs their formula. That baby needs their milk.
And I'll tell you,
So
I do all the shopping in my home, and the price of stuff is up. I
yeah,
always thought Biden was always telling you. I all through the Biden term, I was like, why don't you just admit, that the price of groceries is up? They kept telling you everything was great, and I'd be like, man, I went to the super. I mean, and this is the same case under Trump. The price of
yeah,
stuff is up. Just
yeah.
that
But
simple. Just that simple.
the mechanics, and here's the thing, and we can't talk a whole lot about this because a lot of people aren't into the mechanics of how inflation rate work, etc. Right? But the inflation from Trump is real.
Hmm.
When Biden was using the terms, although he shouldn't have, like transitory inflation and all of that, he wasn't lying. You don't drop if it weren't transitory, Neil. You wouldn't drop from 9% to 3% in a year.
Hmm.
It was a shock that caused that inflation. The Trump inflation is systemic because it comes from several things that are systemic, making tariffs permanent, systemic, making certain types of medical bills now chargeable, systemic. All these things are now built into the system, is what he's doing. Unlike Bush inflation, which was an appendage of the pandemic and what had to be done to mitigate the pandemic. Two different processes that caused the inflation. And unfortunately, explaining that in technical terms to the masses is not the easiest thing. All right, I want to welcome John A. Davis. Do you lie, Cat? Marge KJ. Marge KJ has an interesting point, an important point. She says, DEI, more white women hired in corporate positions, in government positions. Mediocre white Republican men are very afraid of women in the workforce. Look, let me tell you, um, and I want to say this with the right tonality. If welfare, if food stamps, if all these programs primarily went to people of color, and I want you guys to hear this well. If all these programs went primarily to people of color, these programs would not have existed. If you doubt what I'm saying, ask any of the people who attempt to pass these programs. They will only pass if that isn't the case. So Marge KJ nails it.
There we go.
Also welcome Loretta, Data Palochko, Dale Cowboy Hats, Kenneth Culverson, John A, John Dalton, or Judy Dalton, Nancy Ellen, Cowboy Hats, Richard Hogan, MD, PhD, as well. Thank you for giving us that Substack. I'll check it out later, Richard Hogan. All right. I want to go into your blog. Go ahead and start that up, my dear brother.
We There were 4 rallies in the city. They were in the city. They all were in the city, but they were put on by the Harris County Democrat. There were 5 actually. About the redistricting, the mid-decade Trump-ordered redistricting that would gain. They hope, the Republicans hope, 5 seats. And so I traveled around Saturday. I went to 4 of them, looked around. They had decent crowds. You'd like to see thousands of people at all of them. Given the stakes, maybe someday soon. But one thing that Egberto and I talked about before we came on the air, that last week the Texas Democratic House delegation sent out a tweet about the redistricting, and they used the following sentence: Texas House Democrats are going to fight this and use whatever means necessary to do so. That's what they said. And I know that a lot of the different threads that I'm in, social media threads, or just looking on just the commentary I see, my friends, is it performative? Is the resistance, the opposition that the Texas House Democrats, legislative House Democrats are making, is it performative? Or do they intend to jump quorum like they did 3 or 4 years ago? There's implications to that. What do they mean by any means, whatever, any means necessary is the Malcolm X, but whatever means necessary to do so. So we're seeing if they jump quorum. There is a redistricting hearing at the University of Houston at 11 o'clock on this Saturday, and they are asking people to testify. I think the hearing's maximum is 4 hours, and there's probably a zillion people signed up. I'm not discouraging you. I think everyone and their sister is signing up. But there's also a rally that begins at 9:30 that morning at U of H, and then after people go into the hearing at 11, there's another rally that runs from 11 to 2 that has at U of H. Or just outside U of H, and hopefully there will be a big crowd Tuesday. There are, I think, 3 House redistricting hearings, one in Dallas, and I'm sorry, I forget what the other one is. But the upshot is: are they going to jump quorum? Is this a real fight, or is this performative?
Yeah, I think we need to, whether it's performative or not, I think we need to make sure that it's not performative. Tomorrow, you'll hear an interview that I did with the state representative from Sugar Land, Mr. Alani, and you'll hear that interview tomorrow, where he talks about that by all means necessary they'll do all that they can to stop the redistricting. And he seemed serious about it. So you guys will hear that interview tomorrow. I am setting up one next week with, I'm still trying to get Jean Wu for next week. And next week, I think we'll also have Anise Parker, who is running. We don't know if Lena is going to run again yet or not. So I should have Anise Parker next
She's
week
been hitting,
as well.
that's interesting that you're having Anise. She's been hitting the Trump stuff. I guess that's she's sincere. I'm certain she actively dislikes Trump. But she has been hitting a far more partisan vein than you're used to hearing from her. I initially thought that maybe she was yesterday's news, but I'm beginning to think I was wrong about that.
Oh no, I spoke to her at the last CEC meeting. I think she's serious. Serious, and I don't know that Lena is running yet. Lena's been going back and forth as far as.
I'll tell you, that's annoying as could be. She really needs to. I don't really understand this. We've given up. Councilwoman Letitia Plummer is also running. She's going to have to give up her counts. I don't know if Lena got back in, if she would get out. I don't know what the law is. If Letitia Plummer would be able to undo her resignation, I have no idea if you can't run for 2 things at once. So, in some cases, so to run for county judge, Councilwoman Plummer has to give up her seat. And there are many people fighting already for that at-large number 4 seat, that Councilwoman Plummer. For Lena is, and then also announcing she'll run, and she said specifically she won't run if Lena does, is Erica Lee Carter, who is the daughter of Sheila Jackson Lee. If you all recall that it was, as Rodney Ellis and everyone plays musical chairs with our democracy, Erica Lee Carter was the congresswoman for 8 weeks. She won the special election to fill her mom's seat, and that's the seat that Sylvester Turner came. If they had just had Erica Lee Carter fill the seat, we'd have that vote in Washington today.
Yeah, we have to stop playing these games with the older folks, and that's the thing. If Plummer gets in, well, Plummer is in the race. It's not if she gets into the race. I think she actually is in the race.
No, she's in. All I'm asking is as I recall, she said she was running because Lena had indicated to her that Lena wasn't running. And then there was a story in the Chronicle a couple of weeks ago where the county judge said, if I was in the primary, I'd win. And so it seemed like her pride or all these people getting in before she'd formally gotten out annoyed her. And why she just can't make the decision. We need to move ahead with what we're doing.
Oh yeah, but look, these seats cannot be lost. Neither the judges or this seat cannot be lost. Anyway, let's go. Do you have anything else to say before I jump to Bard?
Nope. Let's go.
All right, Bard, come on in. Is Bard there? Okay, I don't hear Bard. Let's go to Tag.
All right.
Come on in, Tag.
Hey, Egberto, how you guys doing today?
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Good morning.
I see a kind of a disturbing trend with the right-wingers. They seem to have a real short-term and narrow perspective on what's going on right now. They see the here and now and they think, oh, everything's great, but they don't have any view of the big picture, more long-term things. And what made me think about this is that I see a meme going around right now. It shows Clinton, Obama, and Biden together. Maybe you guys have seen that. And it says like 90% of the new jobs was created by these 3 Democrat presidents. And that's really the long term of where the track our country's on. And then we've got these right wingers that say, well, everything's great right now. Well, it's great because of these 3 Democratic presidents, and they just can't understand how that works. So what do you think? Any comment about that, guys?
Yeah, I got a big comment about that. I just think that Democrats are likely the poorest marketers on the planet. How do you have a disparity in job creations like a 90 to 10? And that, by the way, when Clinton went on the national stage and said that, the fact checkers went into overdrive because no one would believe that under Democrats an inordinate amount of jobs compared to Republicans get created. Under Democrats, the economy actually does substantially better, not by a little bit, by a bunch better than under Republicans. It's a statement of fact, and that Democrats are so poor at making people, putting out the data out there. You would think that Republican, the way they talk about the overspending, you would think that they were better with the budget. You would think that they were better with the deficit. You would think that they were better with the economy. You would think that they're better with social issues, Tag. And the thing about it is there are more abortions in red states. There are more, all the things that these guys claim to fight about, they are sicker in red states. The red states take more from the federal government. When you look at all the metrics, the red states do much worse than the blue states. And somehow these guys preach as if their policies work. Continue, Tag, before I move on to Bruce.
Yeah, briefly, I just wanted to say that during Clinton, Clinton and the Republicans during that time had a huge cutback of the government. So I don't think there's anything really wrong with reining in the federal government and some federal spending, especially. Clinton proved that because
let's tell that story the right way. And my brother, and Gore was in charge of looking for inefficiencies in government. And what they did is they found those zombie programs that were just being funded, and they got rid of that. That is diametrically opposed to what Doge did. Doge went in and Doge just started cutting. And in the process of cutting, murdered a lot of people, because a lot of those folks out there that were dependent on USAID, a lot of those folks that were dependent on a lot of these other programs, they just slashed them without seeing whether these programs worked or not. Pet Farm, I mean, all these different programs. Go ahead, brother.
Well, Clinton proved that we could do what we're doing on the federal level and run a surplus in this country.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest issue that we need to remember. People forget about these things because they're so focused on the here and now. Oh, prices aren't that much higher in the grocery. The economy is doing just fine. Well, you aren't looking. We got another 3.5 years of this stuff. How bad is it going to be? Is it going to be like another return to the end of the Bush 2
well,
economy?
That is, and look, I'm glad you said that, Tag. Everybody who just heard Tag's question, how bad is it going to be? Are we going to have to wait 3.5 years to get out of this morass? No. It's up to all of you that are listening to our voice. And it doesn't start in the midterms in 2026. It starts in November 2026. Virginia, New Jersey, and other locales, you can actually flip those guys so profoundly. Virginia specifically, New Jersey is already on the right track. Virginia specifically, you have a lot of work to do. Thank you, Tag. Gotta go.
Have a good day, guys. Thanks.
You
Bye-bye.
too, brother.
Thank you.
All right, Bart, come on in. I think you should be on now.
Maybe
Line
not.
number 4, Bart. Will be coming. It'll be coming. Bart, you're on. And for the drop line call back, Bart, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, Bart.
Yes, sir.
Hear me? Good
Yes,
morning.
sir.
Russia hacked the election. You know who said that for 3 years? Stephen Colbert. You know where he is today? He's on the unemployment line. You know who else said that for 3 years? Alberto Willis. So I notice that you're not talking about this at all with Hillary and Obama and how they pulled this scam off.
All right. Okay. Let me just say. Notice I don't use our airwaves for misinformation, but I'm not going to hang up on you because I think, given that that's a story that they're trying to get legs, I need to go ahead and counter that. All of you that just listened to the switch, bait and switch that Brother Bard just did, let me score that up correctly. Here's what happens. The idea is they're going to try to say that because one said that Russia was involved in the election, that somehow we said, basically Obama, basically all the others, said that Russia somehow got into the machines and did something. Nobody said that. It's a great conflation that is occurring right now that Donald Trump needs. And he needs people who cannot critically think to carry that message for him. That's why he's saying it over and over again. The good thing about 2025 is that there are transcripts out there, there's video out there, and there's all the data out there to show what was done. What Brother Barr just said made absolutely no sense, people. And don't fall for the Obama somehow change the election or anything like that. These guys are the best at projecting. They cheat and they try to project it onto others. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about that, Bart. Have a wonderful day, and let's go to Bruce. Come on in, Bruce.
Good morning. Good morning, Alberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
You guys were correct when you said Democrats don't have a good marketing strategy. And I want to bring up that Clinton had Social Security not only on track to be solvent, but to be profitable by 2031. But the reason I called is I don't know if anybody watched South Park last night. If you didn't, please find it on rerun or on the computer. It was hilarious, and it's like they said, what can make Trump come after us? What's the best way we can stick it to him? And they multiplied that times 100. I mean, it was great. So, did you see South Park last night?
No, actually, I don't watch South Park, but now you're making me want to go watch that episode.
They started the program off with Jesus visiting and attending their school and taking Kyle to the office because they didn't let him sit at their lunch table. But then when they get into Trump, they do a caricature of him with the pot belly, and it was just hilarious. At the very end, they had South Park being sued by Trump for $1 billion and had them all celebrating that they got it down to $3 million. But they had to do a PSA, and in the PSA they have Trump buck naked in the desert fighting for us. They even showed him with a little tiny talawhacker. I mean, it was just it was like they said, "What can we do to piss Trump off?" And they multiplied it times 100.
That'll do
it. South Park.
Thank you, Bruce.
Anyway, I want to get off the phone here, and once again, I want to say, Clinton balanced the budget. Clinton has Social Security on the right track. You know, we need to market better. Thank you for taking my...
Yeah, let me just, while you talk about Clinton, let me just tell folks, the largest job expansion in American history occurred under the Clinton administration. Everybody likes to talk about the Reagan recovery or the Reagan revolution or whatever. Reagan had no revolution, folks. Reagan was a big Keynesian cloaked in supply side economics, but he used Keynesian methodologies to actually get somewhat good employment, 16 million as opposed to 21 million from Clinton. Let's get the numbers straight, okay? You want to say something, Neil? Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. The question, I watched last night, the New York Yankees at Blue Jays game with Toronto Blue Jays, which made me wonder, are Canadians still booing the national anthem since the Yankees were in Toronto last night? And the answer seems to be no. I Googled, are Canadians still booing the U.S. national anthem? And I see nothing past February and March. But I'm certain our Canadian neighbors are still plenty mad.
Oh, they're upset. They're not coming to the United States like they used to on the borders,
Right.
where they used to rent bed and breakfast and hotels on Michigan on the other side. Our tourism is down. Everything is down. The thing about it is not, and what I'm saying is marketing. All of this stuff is not very well advertised. We go to the stores and the stores are crazy with the prices, not very well advertised. You know, Donald Trump, if one thing he is a good marketer. Something go up by a penny, and he goes ahead and he doesn't say it's a penny. He says it's a big price increase. Anyway, let's go to Patrick.
I can't find the story. I read a BBC story yesterday about the tariffs, and the guy it was very precise column, and the guy said, "Yeah, Trump's getting his way with the tariffs, and he keeps billing it as wins, but prices are going to go up."
I wrote an article. And this is important. I wrote an article that said that kind of simulated a Trump win if we don't get the marketing straight. Because here's the deal that people don't understand. When I put a tariff on something, right? Let's say I put a 10% tariff on cars. That 10% raise in the price of it, the price rise would be less than 10% because it is on the raw value. It's not on the appreciated value from that you sell things at, right? But when I put that tariff on, that's an inflation that occurs one time, but it sticks with you. It's the price of the tariff, so that price then stays fixed for tariff purposes. And if we don't hit the price increase as the tariff occurs, Trump could actually get a win out of it. That person who wrote that probably understand that concept. Again, the tariffs is a one-time inflation hit, and after that, it's a permanent. It permanently takes that money out of the economy, but it's a one-time inflation hit. So when the numbers are written for the month after, that inflation goes from 10% to zero. And that is why then Trump can come out and say, increased tariffs and inflation is zero if we don't catch the inflation at the time that it occurs. But anyway, let's jump to Patrick and then we'll continue. Come on in, Patrick.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Patrick. Talk to me.
After Bart's phone call, I was kind of scratching my head because I thought that I remembered that the coercion was through social media and manipulation of the actual voter, not the voting machines.
Thank you. And it shows that it worked with him, didn't it?
Yeah. Frontline did a really, really good program on that a while ago. And my favorite part in that is when Trump, right next to Putin, announces that there was no collusion. And Putin's face was like, he couldn't believe it. He was so surprised what was being said because he thought that was the end of it. And then I wanted to move on to another caller that was upset that he had to wait a long time for a visa, green card, and then citizenship. And I think there was an argument whether or not he was racist. I'd like to point out that a woman from Eastern Europe that really hasn't accomplished anything in her life got a genius visa, and he's not upset about that.
You're talking about Trump's wife.
Yes. So I mean, it's fine for somebody from Eastern Europe to get here because somebody has money, but if somebody wants to work hard and contribute to the United States and put into the economy, we can't have that. Oh no, we can't have that. And that leads me on to a week or two ago. I told you I want to talk a little bit about straw man arguments. Mm-hmm. Because it's happening more and more on your program. And I think maybe if you start pointing it out, people will do it less, maybe not. But a straw man argument is where you start an argument and then one side can't win, so they change what you say and then they attack your character. And that happens from two people on almost a daily basis. So one more card you have is to say, well, we're not going to have strongman arguments on this program because I don't want him on this show. It just wastes time. There's a lot to be learned from people like Tag and things like that. But when somebody comes on and starts arguing with you, then they make it about you and then they start lying about you. It takes away from the program.
And, I think I'm learning, believe it or not, in my old age, I'm learning to cut that thing down. And again, believe it or not, the reason why I did that is from our afternoon program. Some of our critical thinkers, and not necessarily progressive critical thinkers, but others, they were getting upset, and I would get detailed emails from them saying, "Look, doing that makes your program no different than these other nonsensical programs." And I listened, and I want to give everybody the opportunity to speak. But at the same time, I'm trying to, at the right time, exactly what you're talking about is not allowing, because that's the purpose, right, Patrick, to get you off the subject so that you can't critically inform about the subject.
Right. Yeah, they know that they can't win the argument, so they change the topic and then they make it personal. And
right.
In debate, that's the worst thing you can do. In debate, you get laughed off the stage when you do that.
Right, exactly.
It is the weakest approach to an argument.
Exactly.
And I've incrementally gotten stronger with handling people, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to give you one other option. Probably not all of our viewers have taken debate, and so or listeners haven't taken debate. So if they understand this a little bit better, they can recognize it.
Absolutely. Anyway, Patrick, thank you, my brother. We filled up, and I think Neil wants to answer that as well. Neil?
No, I'm just agree with Patrick's points.
Oh, okay, got you. All right, let's go to, I think it's Derek. Come on in, Derek.
Hey, good morning, Roberto, and everybody. You know, Bart, Bart, Bart. Nowhere has been released by them doing what they're trying to do. Colbert has been released from the electronic dinosaur. Now, by them doing that, when that man comes out from that electronic dinosaur and go into becoming a podcaster, you talking about he's unemployed? No, he's not. What you done, you just done freed him from a prison.
Oh, wow. Derek, genius,
yes.
Derek. You are a genius, my dear brother Derek. I mean, that is something I should have said when he made that mention on unemployed. I'm glad you picked. Yeah, you see, I get the smartest listeners, period. Smartest folks on chat, smartest folks everywhere. You nailed it, brother.
Yes, sir. And what I wanted to say too was this Russia and Obama thing is a stupid attempt to change public attention. You know, it's an old playbook of past presidents.
Now,
remember, Bill Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky deal. Remember, and what ended up happening to change the public opinion? It was a stupid attempt. You went and blew up a pharmaceutical plant there in Kenya. Did it change public opinion? Hell no. People still kept moving. The same thing with what Trump and them trying to do now. George W. Bush. Every time the people start saying, wait a minute, where's all these so-called weapons of mass destruction? Then next thing you know, Homeland Security raises up to the orange and green level. Go! It's so stupid.
But, you know, it is amazing. It is amazing that it continues. The reason why they do it all the time is that it holds, it holds pace for them. But hey, Derek, I got to move on. So thank you for calling, my brother.
Derek's right, but if you remember, the interesting thing is Derek's right. But during the remember Lewinsky, Clinton's numbers went up, and it
big
helped
time.
Democrats in the 1990, and it was a precursor. I think about that sometimes. We kept waiting. Oh, Trump, he won't get elected. He's got all this scandal, but Clinton's numbers went up during the Lewinsky issue.
In effect, stay out of people's personal lives. Let's go to Betty. Betty, come on in, my dear Betty.
Good morning. Hi, Alberto.
How you doing, beautiful?
I want to thank you for being my Timex. You take a licking and you keep on ticking. I've been staying up late. Yeah. I've been staying up late. To beat the heat, I've been staying up late and getting up late. We'll get a breeze about 9 p.m. and I can be with my animals outside. But I would like to say something for the girls and women that Maxwell and Epstein. I would say a pimp for a pimp, meaning sex. We got to get the files out of the shadows for the girls and women so their bodies won't become a joke between Trump and acting like the birthday drawing he did for his 50th birthday. That was my body too. It hurts like hell. Love y'all.
Love you, Betty. Thank you for your commentary. All right, let's go to Donald. Come on in, Donald.
Good morning, Alberto. You guys keep doing what you're doing.
Good morning, brother.
Because everybody attacks you on stuff, but I think you're so American. You named your daughter Ashley, right? Can you spell it for me?
Ashley.
Okay, you put the L and the H, which is love and hate, with one person looking at it. But what I think you actually did is you put love and hope in that name, and I think you're so American, you did it as a deal, and it's Americans standing, hoping, loving, even you.
I love this, brother. I love this. I love my brother here. You know, Donald, you're a good man. Anyway, what else you want to tell me, my dear brother?
Oh, no, that was it. I was just pulling on you. I mean, the protest, Neil and them, they do it in an organized fashion. They have the right. That's awesome. They're not out in the street impeding traffic or anything that breaks the law. So It is their God-given right as an American to do that. And if without them doing that, we will lose everything, because you have to stand up. Even when it's something small, you have to do right in the do right moment and stand up. And no, you guys carry on.
Thank you, my brother.
So take it easy. Have a good one. That's where your heart's at. Bye.
You too, my brother. You have a good one.
And
All right. Go ahead, Neil.
I'll tell you, we have no permit. 11:30 to 1 every Tuesday, 5300 Memorial Drive. The First Amendment is your permit, and the next protest is when you organize it.
There you go. You know, Do You Lie has a commentary. He says Vegas is down 18% international visitors. No one gambling, begging locals. Yeah, I mean, it has implications what he's doing, right? Let's see. John Davis says the prices won't come down if the tariffs are removed, especially if tariffs are on for any length of time. Corporate America loves that. Yeah, because as soon as somebody comes and reduces the tariffs, they're going to eat the profit, right? I mean, it is what they do all the time.
Just imagine that brief moment when it seemed like Harris, right after she picked Walz, was going to talk about that kind of stuff, and didn't stick with it.
Look, let me tell you, Madami is still not getting the support. And you remember that thing that used to say, after the primaries, you vote the results, you know?
Right.
I guess you vote the results except, right? No, I'm sorry.
They're going to tear up. I'm no expert on New York City politics, but they're going to, New York City the New York State Democratic Party has been losing votes. They've been in power for a long time. They are going to tear up that party. I'm interested to see where this goes. That guy won that race pretty easily.
Not only that, his 56% of the vote. Let me tell you something. Yeah. If they don't back this guy, they've lost Gen Z. They've lost the younger Gen Y, meaning millennials, and that will be a fractured party. And I think it leaves the door open for yet another Republican to come in and run that city.
And the young, I do want to note the polls for younger voters, you just referenced it, are now overwhelmingly negative for Trump. And I'm just like, that's great. Glad to see it. But oh boy, what did y'all think was going to come? That's all I can.
Yeah.
What did you think was happening?
You know, one of the thing about it is people don't understand what fighting is all about, right? They are so scared of that term, democratic socialism, because the reality is that is what, if you take a look at all the happy countries, the successful countries like Sweden and Norway and all these countries, that's what they use. It's not against capitalism. It's saying for a change, capitalism is not an ideology, it's a tool. If capitalism works in a particular sector, capitalism. If something else works in another sector, something else. I tell you one thing, I want healthcare, I want energy, I want certain things outside of the realm of capitalism because it kills otherwise. Take a look at the hospitals, take a look at all these other things. But critical thinking is not so available right now, and it is something that what we are doing here, Neil, we're attempting to do. So anyway, folks, let me just say one other thing. Tomorrow, we're check out the interviews that we're gonna have. I think you're gonna really enjoy them. Specifically, we have one with Marlon Weems, who is a Wall Street guy, and we also have one with State Representative Alani. So I think Lalani, I think is his name. You're going to like those two interviews. Very, very important. Anything else you want to mention, Neil, before we send it to the studio?
HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Thank you. Please visit the blog and please listen to the state rep from Fort Bend tomorrow and call your Democrat, even if you don't live in the district, okay? They'll send you a fundraising note, okay? They can be in Alaska. They'll send you a fundraiser. Call your Democratic state senators, your Democratic state House members, and here in Harris County, Fort Bend, wherever you are, we have a statewide audience. Tell them to fight.
You know, I want to let folks know a lot of people don't, figure their calls don't mean anything. And earlier we were complaining that are the Democrats really going to fight here in Texas? Let me tell you what stops them from fighting. If they think the audience is apathetic, their constituency is apathetic, while the ones on the right are not, they're going to lay low. If they feel like they have your backing, that you are 100% behind them, they're going to go out there and fight, because it's, in effect, they know it's not just putting their bare skin in the game, that you are in the game as well. Anyway, let's pass it to the studio. El estudio, ¿cómo están mis amigos?
I'm so glad that Neil cleared up that thing about the Russian collusion thing. Yeah, there was no proof that there was problems with the voting machines, but there was certainly the social media, and they did hack into the DNC computers. That's been proven. So, Neil, thank you. I appreciate that, because everybody thinks, oh, there was no Russian collusion. Well, there was. There wasn't anything with the voting machines, but there was everything else. So there you go.
I mean, it's even in the Mueller's report.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I read the report.
Yeah, not because Barr came out and said nothing here means there was nothing there. It's just like this new report on Epstein. Hey, the man's name is all over the thing. And by the way, folks, I want you guys. I can't quite say it the way I should, because I'm on air, and I'm very careful in what I say on air. But I want you guys to go look up Donald Trump and a lawsuit by an under 18 young lady, and what the claim is on Donald Trump and why that never came to pass. And did you see that?
Oh yeah, I've been studying this stuff.
Right.
See, I argue with MAGAs on Facebook, and I've got to get my facts straight.
Right. Anyway. Neil, thank you so kindly for being here with us. Neil from the HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Folks, please make sure you go over there, HoustonDemocracyProject.com. The rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can email me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Love you all, and I mean that from the depths of my heart. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Your albums, do you have a favorite?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, I haven't listened to them for a long time.
You know who's listened to them? This girl.
But I remember Hajira was